Hello everyone, I'm Kako Chrissy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will show you another massive size cicada. This is the Hongshan Jade. We will add more knowledge to our understanding of Hongshan Jade. Let's see from the material wise, let's take a look. You see inside, this is a kind of yellow with green tone jade. That's the Hongshan local mine. We already see a couple of example before. It's very hard kind of jade, but you may notice on this part, you don't see the light go through that much, almost none. And not only by the thickness, it's also mainly is by, see this part, you can see the light can go through, and this part is none. They are the same thickness. You will notice on this edge. See there's light go through? Here's none. That's the thing caused by this kind of black stains on this piece. As we explained before, this is more likely caused by, before bury this piece, they let the piece go through those fire-related ceremony, burn it or smoke it, go through those ceremony, convert this piece for the next life usage before buried. That's why you basically after touch fire or high smoke, whatever those things, it will got the physically damaged this piece. Not naturally damaged, not physically. There's still same whole piece. You didn't break it, but by let it go through the fire ceremony, the nature part of a jade is got damaged. Cause this kind of stain. Actually, this black dish stain, we will see more pieces. Example, in Hongshan Jade, they frequently, you will see frequently this stain appears on their jade. Okay, we cover the material and the stain, and then we go to the next part is the design. If you started the Hongshan piece with this one, honestly, probably you won't see those enlightened, swift, powerful, moving feeling of Hongshan people had, which is I explained in my previous pieces. That the feeling you won't get much from this guy. Not only because of the size is big, it's about they degrade, how they degrade, how they make this piece. Such as we talk about the Hongshan people before, they don't like to put on too much design on their piece. They want to preserve their earth's, the jade is earth power. So they put on minimum design around the faces. But if you look at this piece, apparently this piece is towards the very end of Hongshan culture. So you will see the people's taste already changed. We should keep in mind that this Hongshan culture lasts about 2,000 years. So it's normal by technology change or people's the taste, they changed. You see, they decorated this guy with this big rounded eyes that still there's on the same line with their ancestors, the Hongshan people. There's the same. They decorated with very, what is the word to say it? Realistically. And because they believe those creatures is a messenger to deliver the prayer to God and carry back their protection to us. So those things, they must create it realistically and also with a power. So this the design is follow their guideline. The things they change slightly, we need to notice. You see the way they grew out these lines is much precise, and if you compare with our previous cicada piece, their line is much wider spread. It's not this dense because of the effort that they use and the tool they use. Now they have a kind of a tool enable them to grow out those channels very thin. Even here, you see, this lines is not as thin as the piece on the arm guard. I showed you before. Later, I will do more talk about the lines, inside the lines. You look at those deep inside those lines, you still see this kind of motion. So they still use the same kind of rotary tool to grow out, including this piece. But this tool got much efficient for them to grow out thin and evenly looking the lines more effortlessly. So for the same idea, they use this tool to grow out this line. You notice this is almost on the one flat pieces. In the older days, Hongshan people don't like to grow out their pieces on the flatter surface. You remember those scepter on there's channels? Their channels are wider, much wider. They grow out. So they play with the light beautifully. But this piece, the finish on the finish part, since they already have those kind of better rotary tool to grow those thin lines, they just flatten it before polish. This kind of finish you will see much later is Longshan culture. You will see those finish. If we look deeper on this piece, under the flat surface, you still see the original way they used to grow out this piece. They use sand to grow out, make it into shape, and then put in design, and then they flatten it. This process in the early age, you don't see it. Make a piece more efficiently made, but we have to say this lack of those playing with light make the texture jade surface like a silk like. That's a kind of a feeling you don't see much here. And on the back, the same, you will observe on those grooved lines, you see this motion. And this part, you will see the deterioration created by the earth, buried for thousands years. And you see here the holes, the drilled holes. Let me enlarge it. Hope you can see the sections. They use the same idea, same technique to drill out this hole. This kind of hole they only make in the very old, those Asian time, not later on. This just too much trouble to make it. Okay, let's go back. So again, we need add more knowledge to understand the Hongshan people, and we also have to think about the timeline changes. So we figure out by the technology changed, developed, they have a different way to make out their jade. This is the changes we need to add into our knowledge, good and bad. That's the things developed. Most likely in the beginning, they went through the trouble. Later on, they reached their peak time, and towards the end, they just get more efficient wise. But late of their peak time, those sensitive beauty part. I hope you enjoy today's video. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next time.